Hey, Kat. Okay, so let's get started here. So, once you have your engine opened up, a few different things, which I hope you've had time enough to go through this and actually take a look. Obviously, the first thing we want to make sure is that you have your Fargo rate set up. I don't know if you have had a chance to email them about that yet, but in order for your tournament for this weekend, sorry. In order for your tournament tomorrow to be Fargo submitted, you have to make sure that that is set up, which I believe. I always have to remember where the heck it's at. Fargo member activation. So under the help, under the Fargo rated stuff, this will give you your guidelines on what to do. Any questions about the submission, all you have to do is just email them, give them the details. Just make sure to read this, and it will tell you how to get into that. So please make sure you do that first. Sorry about that. Had I known that he was going to be obnoxious and annoying, like I said, we were in the shop all night trying to get those truck fixed. But once you get your Fargo all set, good, ready to go, as long as you're logged in with your ID and everything up here in that top right, you know you're all set, good to go. So when you first open Engine, this is exactly what it's going to look like. One of the major things that I want to make sure that you do is within the first thing that you want to do is you want to go to your race settings. If you're going to do any races, please make sure that you get that set. You can't do that until you actually open a tournament. So I'll go back and I'll make sure that I show you that. Also, your chip distribution, make sure you have this set as well. You can read all of this that you see here that I'm circling. If you want to give yourself kind of a guideline, I don't do any APA or any ELO rated stuff, but I do use the Fargo rating that you see down here, and you can click on it and change it to whatever you would like. That is not a problem. If at any time you ever want to reset it, you can. So like obviously this is going to be my zero, right? So I have zero means they don't have Fargo rate, yada yada yada. Never used it because I give a minimum of 2 chips because that's like a double elimination and a max of 6. Again, you can do this to however you would prefer, but this is how I do my settings right here. So zero Fargo rate would be 3 chips. Any 100s and 200, anything basically 100 to 200s is 6 chips. 300s is 5. 400s is 4. 5 is 3. And anything 600 and above Fargo rating gets 2 chips. That's how I do mine. Again, you can change those if you'd like. I don't mess with the skill level stuff. I only do the Fargo rate. Again, you can go back to default if you'd like. Also, here on the little right hand side, the eliminated icon, usually it shows a dead fish, I believe. I chose mine to show eliminated so the player truly knows they're eliminated, but you can change that as well if you choose. So let's go ahead and let's open up a tournament. So the biggest thing is that each time you do this, every tournament that you do, you are going to have to save each one. I don't know why it has you do that. I could not tell you. Essentially, it's like saving a template, which is fine, but you always have to save for a new tournament. So I already have a template, but let's say I didn't. So let's create a new tournament. So this is going to look like a lot. So when you create a new tournament, you want to make sure you have the right date and the right time. So let's say, shits and giggles, I was doing it right now. Right underneath that is this box of the event. So this is usually the name. So I would say, I'm at second chance because remember, Fargo rate makes you put the location, the type of game, and the date that you're playing. We already obviously have the date here. So for mine, I will just put, I need some light here. I will just put second chance 8-ball. Oops, 8-ball chip tournament. If I can learn how to oh my god, Ariana is the end of the day, let me tell you. Okay, then obviously you pick the game, 8, 9, 10, or other. We're going to say it's 8-ball this go around. Like I told you, this program does allow you to do singles, doubles, mix, anything like that. But for this, we're going to do chip tournament. And then I want to make sure I'm not running out of time here. So we still have 10 minutes, so we're good. Okay. The next thing is, for some reason, it makes you pick these. So I pick amateur and pro, even though it doesn't make a difference to me. I say there's males and females. If you're doing teams, you can do teams and how many of. Um, Obviously, we don't have pro, so I guess just amateur. Minimum entries. When you're doing a trip tournament, the minimum you can play with is six. It will not let you play with less than that. Please know, I did just learn this. You can play with six people in a trip tournament, but you have to have at least seven for it to be able to submit to Fargo. Last week, we did a 10 ball, 9 ball, excuse me. We did a 9 ball, race to three, and we did it with six people. And come to find out, I got all done. We had a good night, did really well, and found out I couldn't fucking submit it. So I was pissed. So just as a forewarning, need seven to actually be able to submit to Fargo. The max you can set to whatever you'd like. I just pick a random big number, usually like 64. I'll put whatever the entry fee is, which for us, we usually do a $10 entry fee. If you have any green fees, you can put those. I don't ever worry about the upcharge, and I don't ever worry about the mail or pro thing. If you decide to handicap, you can. Again, that's something I don't necessarily get into because I don't need to. We don't do a Calcutta, and we don't do a break and run. Obviously, you do a break and run, so you can click yes, put what your ticket costs are at, how many tickets are drawn, I believe, and then what your starting part is going to be. That one you'll have to dink around with a little more because, like I said, I just don't play with it enough. The assignment, I do not want it in any order, and I don't want to pick the lineup. I want it to be as random as it can be. Also, too, the next thing is about the number of chips. Once you are in that chip distribution, like I was showing you before, get that set first, and then you can go issue chips based on Fargo rating, because that's what I prefer to use. The next thing is the payouts. So let's say the bar was matching the pot, and I had the 10 players, so that's going to be $100. So let's say the bar match, that's an additional 100. So then the total after you put your players in, that would change to 200. And then you can actually put, if you want on this side, you can put what your payouts you're going to do, and or you can use whatever computated payouts it tells you. That is completely up to you. You don't have to fill this part out if you don't want to, but that's your choice. And at that point, basically all the settings for the tournament itself are done. The next part is where you actually need to open up the player's database. And it's going to say you need to save the tournament. I'm just going to put this as a fake. But what I do is I go into, it sets up these folders automatically. So go into 2024's, and then I just save them by the date, as you can see. So June 23rd, June 30th, yada, yada, yada. And these are my templates that I use depending on which one I'm doing. So, but this one's a fake. When you open up your player's database, obviously you're not going to have anybody in here. The one thing about this system is you're going to notice that you can make your own rosters. So you are actually putting people into your system, right? So at first, this system is going to show empty for you, which is okay. That's fine. But in order to add players, this is where it gets a little interesting. So if you are wanting to add a player over here where it shows new entry, you're going to click on that. It's then going to give you access to fill out all this information. Some of it you are going to definitely need to have in order to make sure that, one, you can submit to Fargo, and two, later down the road, if they didn't play now and decided to play later, then you already have them. Okay. So let's say I don't have my husband in here. So, right, hold on. I don't want to put just random person here. Yeah. Okay. So let's say I have a player, James Bays, who's going to play. Now, an alias, you can come up with an alias for them, or you can just choose to use their name. If you're going to use an alias, just make sure no one else uses that alias. And make sure you're not going to use that alias for someone else down the road. So, like for James, I'm either going to use his nickname, or I'm just going to put James B. That is completely a personal reference and totally up to you. I have a lot of Jameses in my area, so I'm just going to put his legit name. The street, I'm not worried about, but the city we need to definitely have in there, plus the zip code, which is 59864. And then the state is obviously the state of Montana. And just type M and then go down. If you try to do MT or MO, it won't pop up. And then do his sex. And then once you have that, you don't need to put any other info within this. That's all you need, truly, to make sure that you can submit to Fargo. Once you have all of that information in, you're going to go ahead and put insert. What this is going to do is it's asking if this is a person that can be verified. Is this person by the right name? Once you put this in, you cannot modify the name later. So make sure you do it right the first time. It's obviously very important. Once you do that, you hit yes and save. And as you can see, he has popped up into my roster up top. Now, in order to get people from your roster to the tournament, we now need to put them onto that registry. So, in order to do that, you click on their name. His info is going to pop up down here. Once you do that, you're going to hit register player. Obviously, you're going to have pop-ups and tips that pop up from time to time. This is telling you how to retrieve all their information, yada, yada. If you want to read them, feel free. Now that he's registered, you are able to see that the Fargo rate box has disappeared, opened up, so it's not grayed out anymore. This is where you now can put in his Fargo rate. If for some reason you don't have your app open on your phone or something, you can just open it up on there by clicking that little link, and it'll take you right to it, and you can look up what his Fargo rate is. Do this right before you start the tournament. Don't do it days in advance or anything, as well as you well know that the Fargo rates change every day. So don't try to do it in advance because it might only mess you up. So his Fargo rate's a 321. So I'm going to go back, and I'm going to type 321 and just hit the enter button. Once it grays out, then you know you're locked in. Once you do this for each of your players, then you are good. Obviously, we've already registered him, and if you try to do it again, it'll say, hey, he's already registered. He's in spot 1. So once you have everyone registered, you're going to hit this X button, and it's going to take you back here. On this right-hand side is where it's going to show all of your registered players. So make sure you have them all here. As you start to go down, it says what position they're in, their names. I don't care about the skill. I don't care about the league or the BP, but I do care about their due. So once you can click on each person. So let's say I add me and James for shits and giggles here. And let's say I'm at like a 319 right now, which I have no idea what the hell I'm at, but well, shits and giggles. Okay. So the next thing you're then going to do is you can click on each player and it'll pull up their info for you. You want to make sure to check these players in. You have 2 ways of doing this. You can go one by one by clicking on them and coming down here to the player card and doing it that way. Or you can go slightly above where it says print roster and to the right, that little check mark. If you click on that, it'll open up the entire players list. And you can check them in that way by clicking the box twice next to their name and make sure that it is truly checked in. Once you check everyone in, you can go ahead and close it. And the other thing too is their dues. Again, back down here, once you click on the player's name, see where it shows paid and it shows 0. If you just tap it, it'll then change to 10. So then it shows that that player has now paid. And then the due up here will change to 0. That is all you solely have to do to get everyone registered. I am going to have to add a few more players here so I can go ahead and just get them so I can show you what an actual thing looks like here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let me stop this video and I will start a new one right quick. These are only 15-minute long videos, so I apologize, but I will make sure to send them all to you.